illegal.
Texas, it's gone down dramatically.
Texas has gone dramatically. Texas literally made it illegal to get abortion back in 2022. So of course it's going to go down if it's illegal. You're going to go to prison if you get it. What kind of stupid argument is that?
No, it's just
obviously not if we're here debating it. I don't think it's as settled
then
as
you don't have to use the word fetus. It just makes people feel better. It's obviously a baby.
No, I mean, obviously you wouldn't take like, you know, a fetus that just has like a heart and like their brain isn't fully formed and be like, that's the same as like a 1 month old.
Yeah.
Like we obviously see differences between development from then and there.
So, but then how about 30 weeks?
That's where it becomes a lot more contentious. But the point being is that we don't look at a fetus from its beginning stages and be like, yeah, that's the same thing as my like 3-month-old cousin.
Exactly. This is a conversation between a liberal side that doesn't agree with the conventional definition for what any of these things mean, and they want to make legislations based on that. And you have the other side who's a conservative, and they have a completely different framework in which they operate in. So the conversation should be focused around what? What is a life? What is a definition? What's your moral flame? What's my moral flame? Let's try and have a conversation about that. It should not be, well, my side is correct, now let's move on and try to make arguments based on that. That's extremely disingenuous.
Hold on, that's a 9-month-old is not the same thing as a 1-month-old.
Okay,
right? So you can go through the progression of development continues. The question is, when does it start?
Yeah, that's $1 million question. I agree with that.
So
do you think conception?
Of course, that's the only answer.
You see, and this is the part where he should have asked them, okay, where do you guys think it begins? But I think they kind of mentioned that that's the $1 million question. They don't know. Okay, this should be where both of them should try to come into a place where they figure out where the other side begins to define what that word even means. Where does life begin? He says it's conception. Cool. What does the other side think? What do they think?
Oh, if
you were saying
so
if somebody someone
like,
forced sex upon themselves, it's the word you're.
Or even like not even just that, but say like if the mother like was homeless or something, say like she didn't have a good life, do you still think that child deserves to be brought into the world just to suffer?
You see, this is a very good point that this girl is mentioning. Essentially making a consequentialist argument. We care mostly about what's going to happen after we give birth to the child. Are they going to have a good life? Are they going to have a good quality of life? All that kind of stuff. The conversation with Republicans is always about the birth process. Okay, give birth. Okay, what's going to happen after that? Yeah, I'm out of here. I'm only here for giving birth process. And after that, I'm out of here. That's where a lot of people begin to lose faith with these people.
Well, so it's not a guarantee of suffering, number one. One sec. The answer is yes, the life should be brought into the world. There are twice as many people on the adoption waiting list.
There's so many people.
Well, let me ask you guys, and I'm just curious, how many abortions do you think there are a year in America?
Why is that relevant? Why does it matter how many? Let's just say it's 100 million. So what? Like, the conversation is about, is it moral or not? So it doesn't matter how many of them are happening. We need to establish, is it moral to have it or is it not moral to have it? Is it justified or is it not justified? Does it matter about the number?
Tens of thousands, I assume.
Any other guesses?
I have no clue.
What if I told you there was over 1 million abortions every year?
That wouldn't surprise me at all.
But you went from tens of thousands to 1 million.
I mean, there's billions of people on the
No. Yeah, there's 340 million in America. That's right. No, but do you think
as far as like reported ones, because even just reported data is going to be incomplete.
That doesn't count mifepristone, which is the chemical abortion that people have at home. It doesn't count Plan B, right? So,
and even if like abortion were illegal, for example, we stopped gathering data on like who procures abortions, there would be so many. There's so many now, even with states where it's still legal.
Texas, it's gone down dramatically.
Texas has gone dramatically. Texas literally made it illegal to get abortion back in 2022. So of course it's going to go down if it's illegal. You're going to go to prison if you get it. What kind of stupid argument is that?
I don't necessarily believe being born in poverty is a death sentence or is a reason to terminate.
Of course not.
No. But abortion is a death sentence. So I don't think poverty should give you a death sentence.
Would you say abortion is murder?
Oh, of course, 100%.
Do you think that people who procure abortions, women specifically,
Yes.
a woman who procures an abortion should go to jail for getting one?
Absolutely, yeah. They're the moral equivalent of Auschwitz.
Ooh. I don't think he can defend his position. I do not think he can defend his position. How is it equivalent to Auschwitz? How?
Really?
Yes.
Millions of women are
not
basically the same as like Nazi
not the women.
death camp guards.
The women are victims. They're lied to.
And now he's trying to get the woman on his side. Hey, girls, I don't think it's your fault. Like, he removes complete agency from these women to say, well, you guys have been lied to. You guys don't know. I know better. Trust me. You guys have been lied to. You don't know what you're doing. You don't want to do what you're doing. Trust me, you've been lied to. But the people who are doing this to you, yeah, I'm going to charge them with murder. But you who actually went to the clinic, you who actually paid for this, you actually who asked for health coverage regarding this, you who made all the executive decisions regarding this, yeah, it's not your fault. It's the fault of the person who just followed what their patients told them to do, right? That's their fault. What a lame and lousy way to try and win a woman to come and get on your side.
90% of women do not see an ultrasound before they have an abortion. They have no idea what's happening to them. They're the victims here. It is the abortionists that are doing this. But let me ask you, and I mean this, have you guys ever seen an abortion on a video?
Wait, I'm sorry. If women are the victims here, why should they be jailed?
Well, I don't believe they should be jailed. I think
the abortionists.
How is it that you could believe that abortion is murder, but a murderer shouldn't go to jail?
Facts, exactly. How can you say that they're murderers, but they shouldn't go to jail? How does that make any sense? They're the ones who are making executive decisions to do it, right? So if they're the one doing it, why shouldn't I go to jail if you believe that it's murder? This is a very logical question, but he cannot answer this. So what he's going to do is he's going to try to find a way to blame it on the doctors.
Didn't say that. The doctors, the abortionists, the people that call themselves doctors, the people that put women under general anesthesia and go into...
But women do, they ask for it.
They are doctors. They're medical
Are you going to just discount the accountability of the woman in that decision?
My current perspective is because the women are not given what is called informed consent, that the women should not be penalized. They should not be... they shouldn't be penalized. In fact, they should be given grace from a system that has lied to them and has misled them. They are not given the full picture of exactly what's happening to them. Informed consent has not happened. So these women are the victims.
So basically, women are children. They don't know what they're doing. And the system had lied to them. And they have no idea what an abortion is. What does informed consent look to him, to be honest? Does he think it's a videographic presentation where the doctor showcases what exactly and how gruesome the whole process is going to look like so that they discourage people from getting it? Is that what informed consent is? Because I don't know what that even means. He's not going to explain it.
The abortionists, one second, the abortionists are the ones that know exactly what's happening. And if you haven't seen a video of an abortion, I'm not going to say anything too graphic. It is one of the hardest things to watch. The baby fights, the baby struggles, the baby dodges, the baby avoids. They break the neck of the baby. They euthanize it to the spring. It's not a joke.
Yeah, I'm not going to say what it is, but I'm going to go ahead and describe exactly what it looks like.
And then they tear it limb from limb through there. If you're trying to tell me that's,
That's like a
if you're talking about, they're called dilation and extraction abortions, then yes,
hold on a second.
Like that. But if you're talking
a baby has a backbone at 6 weeks and a spine. It has a complete figure. It's small. It's like probably as small
the size of like a grape, yeah.
Yes, but by 8 weeks or 12 weeks, and you're talking about...
But the vast majority of abortions are performed in the first trimester.
Yeah, that's right.
So when the type of abortion that you describe is literally the like minority of the time, and those are wanted pregnancies because usually those women want those pregnancies. They weren't able to carry them to term. They don't know they're pregnant
till they're 6 weeks, to your point.
They weren't able to carry those children to term because of health risks to their own life or to the infants.
Right. So without getting into that.
Without getting into all the good arguments that you made, let me just go ahead and make a random argument.
No infant should be terminated because of health risk to the infant. Okay, that's insane. It's like you're going to kill the baby because the baby has health risks.
Not just health risks. These are deformed, like...
Oh, let me ask you.
These are medical...
Hold on, Down syndrome.
Yeah, like
should we abort Down syndrome kids?
Okay, you see, now we're getting back again to what the conversation should have been about. This is a moral conversation. It's about morality. He is a religious Christian man. These girls are probably atheists or agnostics, and they don't have a moral framework that comes from scripture. They're just figuring shit out as they go. They probably should have refined it a little bit better, but somebody like him would probably have a better argument with somebody who is more informed about their side of the argument. But he's imposing his religious views on people who are not religious. So when he's saying things like this, the other side is just going to have a reaction to it. They're going to be like, well, no, I don't agree with you. But he's moving on with these conversations as if his side of the argument is just objectively true, right? The other side just doesn't agree with him and doesn't seem to even try to win them back to get them to his side. He's just trying to score points, and he's just like throwing around words. Candace Owens does the exact same thing very frequently. The last time she came on the show, she just called the girls prostitutes, and she's trying to basically have a conversation with them. I don't understand how you're gonna have a conversation with somebody, but then you're insulting them while you're sitting across the table from them.
No.
Iceland has. They said if you have Down syndrome, you're done. So that's not a new phenomenon. They have gotten rid of Down syndrome. If you have a DNA test of Down syndrome, they abort the kid. I think that's cruel and unusual.
That is.
Yeah.
Okay, we agree. Good.
I think there are frivolous reasons to procure abortions, but I don't believe that just because there are frivolous reasons to get them, that means it should be outlawed.
But should murder be outlawed?
Yeah.
Okay.
But like you were saying,
He does this. He did it again, where he just acts like he just scored a dunk on them. Yeah, well, should murder be outlawed? But remember, he believes abortion is a murder. Therefore, So, but then he did not establish that with them. They don't believe it's murder. So that smirk that he just made is pointless. He's just appealing to his people. So I don't get the point of that. Like, just establish that it's murder from their side of the point.
Then
even though you believe that those women have a hand in committing the murder and infanticide basically of their own children, they shouldn't go to jail.
Oh, facts. Just 2 minutes ago, he called that whole process killing and murder, and he said they should go to jail. And these people are culprits in the process. Currently, in any state of the country, if you commit a crime or you are complicit in a crime, you're liable for it. So if these people are partaking in this murder, shouldn't they also serve some kind of sentence? But no, he believes that they've been lied to, right? He's trying to appeal to them, but he's still accusing them of committing a criminal act. But then he's just not making any sense. What is it? Are they complicit in the crime? Are they the criminals? What exactly is going on here? They're participating in a crime. Why are they not liable?
They have not been given informed consent. They don't know what's happening to them.
Do you have that opinion with people who are addicted to drugs? Do you think only drug dealers should go to jail, but not people who actually try to buy drugs and consume them?
It depends what drug it is. It depends the category, the class.
Why does it matter? Why does it matter? Let's just say it's a drug that is illegal, class A or whatever, and it is fentanyl. Okay, does the user and the distributor go to jail? If the answer is definitely yes, he's gonna say yes. So why should that be not the case? If this is murder, this is killing, why shouldn't a woman also go to prison? He's just not going to answer this. He doesn't want to lose his female audience. That's exactly why he's not going to say anything about this.
Able to make that
How
choice.
often have we ever had an honest conversation with women in this country saying that having an abortion increases the chances for depression, anxiety, medication dependence?
So does having a kid.
Well, hold on.
Having children carries all of those same risks.
You think having children? You think having children?
No, don't mischaracterize me.
No, that's not true at all.
I'm not going to say that having a child necessarily gives you depression or any of that.
That's what she said.
It can come with it. Like postpartum depression, for example, is extremely common among young
It's temporary and short-lived, and obviously.
Not always.
For some people last years.
So is the depression from
temporary and short-lived. That's not permanent.
You think
but when
years of living with postpartum depression can simply constitute a temporary medical issue?
Let's theoretically even grant. So you're saying because of potential postpartum depression.
Okay, here's the thing. He mentioned fentanyl and these other drugs. He said people have mentioned that they have all these negative side effects. Therefore, they know they have received the informed consent. So if they participate in it, they're gonna have to serve a prison sentence. Now, the girls are like, okay, cool, that sounds good. But, however, the same thing can also be said about pregnancy. We know, as males and females, about the side effects of pregnancy and what it entails and all that kind of stuff. But people still move on with the process of giving birth or an abortion. How does that make it any different than the previous example? He's also not going to answer that.
Women to go in.
No, that was never my
clinics.
Argument. This had nothing to do with morality. This was a completely separate question. I'm only saying that I feel like you're trivializing and downplaying how serious conditions like postpartum depression can be when you want to write it off as like a temporary medical issue when it can be years-long battle.
Look, having children is a serious choice. So what percentage of abortions, according to the Guttmacher Institute, are not rape, not incest, and not life of the mother? What percentage would you say?
Probably the vast majority.
97%.
Yeah.
So is abortion now birth control, yes or no?
No, I don't think so.
I think that's situational to each and every person.
Molly, do you think that birth control, it could be called birth control in certain situations?
Because you're talking about over 1 million abortions, but there's tens of millions of women that are on birth control, that have IUDs, that take birth control pills. So obviously.
I want him to explain to me what is the difference between an abortion and a birth control pill. Like, I want to understand what's the moral difference between the two from his side of the argument. If one is an active killing of a child and the other one is the active preventing of a child, and sometimes, there might have been even a child was about to get developed in that whole process, but then the plan B or something like that would get rid of it. What's the moral equivalence between the two? Because he believes that it's like should be illegal or let the state determine if it's okay or not, right? But what's the moral difference between the two? Because he keeps making distinctions between abortion and like plan Bs and birth controls. What's the moral difference?
it's you want all the loose lifestyle, but none of the responsibility.
Yeah, exactly. That's literally what the other side's argument is. They do not view sex as a holy thing. They view it as a transactional thing or something that they would just do for pleasure. That is the focal point he should be focusing on. He should be asking them, why do you think that? Okay? But he's just like saying, well, this is that what you believe? Is that what you believe? Well, yeah, that's what they believe. Now, do you want to argue about that, or do you want to talk about something else?
Now you're framing it like the punishment for having it should orgasm should be punished. Wait. No, the way that you're framing it, which is that
not a punishment.
Oh, you want the loosey goosey parts of sex, like the orgasm, but you don't want the responsibility of a child. It's like, yeah, some people want to be able to have sex.
Okay, no, you articulate it perfectly. I'm going to be able to have sex how I want, and if I have to go put a dagger through, or have someone put a dagger through a child for me, then so be it.
Oh, you see, like, it's so disingenuous, extremely disingenuous. Try to talk with the other side who don't see the world the same way you do, in a way where you're just not being a horrible person to them. They don't agree with your moral view of the world. Okay, you know that. Have a conversation about that then. Talk to them about why do they view the world that way? How do they justify it? Don't just say, hey, oh, you believe that? Okay, you're a piece of shit. Like, that's just not how it works. No, I don't know, man.
I guess.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, that you're being morally clear. And basically it's my body. I can do whatever I want with it. Even though, let me ask you a question.
Even though, like I said, most women don't regret their abortions at all. Like the vast majority of women report happiness and being okay with their decision. I'm sure you think that they're lying or they're indoctrinated or wrong or delusional.
But if it's not your DNA, how is it your choice?
Yo, I heard this guy make so many stupid arguments. This gotta be like top 5. Because it's not your DNA, how are you responsible? The same way you are responsible for a child. He's a parent, right? You are responsible for your child, right? You make decisions for them. They can't do anything without you. You have control over every single aspect of their life. They don't have the same DNA as you. Why should you have that authority? See how stupid that sounds?
To realize.
A couple people wanted to come in really quick. It looked like you wanted to come in. I'd like to give you an opportunity to speak. Then I think you had more, Pixie, than Molly. Go ahead.
It was just backtrack just on what he was saying on not wanting to have the responsibility. I think that's really, I don't really think that makes sense, because I don't think sex is just for reproduction. It's just like asking you, like every time, I'm not trying to bring in your wife, but every time you have sex with your wife, it's purely for reproduction. I feel like that is very inaccurate. So I mean, it's hard to expect everyone who isn't in a marriage to just not have sex just because they don't want to get pregnant or just because they don't want to have that responsibility.
Wait, did you even make the argument that sex is purely
No, I didn't.
I don't think you did.
But Angel's making a good point.
Yes, he did. He did make the argument, because early on he said, well, you want the pleasure without the responsibility? Well, yeah. But for him, it's like, you can do that, but only under my biblical conditions. So, yeah, podcast host, he did make that argument. He just didn't make it verbatim, but he essentially made it early on.
I want to give her credit for this, which she's saying, and it could be misunderstood that I was saying sex is strictly for reproduction. What I was saying is that everything in life has consequences and choices, right?
Correct,
and
yes.
at times, the mainstream predominant narrative is that sex comes with almost no downsides, and we're going to give you either the technology, the procedure, or whatever to try to limit those downsides. But the difference is that when my wife and I have sex, if she results to be pregnant, which she did, is that we live with that consequence, which happens to be a positive consequence, right? A huge blessing. Now, I understand what I'm saying is very, very radical and very unpopular, but the ideal should be far less people having premarital sex and trying to have sex within marital guidelines, or at the very least monogamous guidelines, okay? So that if there was to be a pregnancy, that baby could be loved and cared for and brought into this world. I understand.
Why would that equal people not having abortion? Let's just say there's a world where people are all monogamous, or they're getting married. Why would that entail no abortion? Because now he's assuming that the main reason why people get abortions is because they're not married or because they're not in a monogamous relationship, which is not true. People who are in monogamous relationships get abortions. So I don't understand what he's getting at.
Are you guys familiar with what's happening with the chemical abortion craze that's going on right now?
The pill that
No, not the pill. That's different. I'm talking about where they're mailing chemical abortion packets.
Oh yeah.
Where women are bleeding out and emergency room visits are up
What?
nearly 300%. You guys should look into it. It's a very serious thing.
But why is that?
Because
it's
abortion
becoming harder to
about
get
to say it's
abortions.
because women don't have access to safe abortion, so they start resorting to these sorts of methods
There's no such
that are
thing as
way
a safe
dangerous.
abortion.
Yes, there is safe abortion. He knows that. Yes, there is. There is millions of those. People get them. He mentioned earlier that there's a million abortion case that happens per year in America. And if it's a deadly or dangerous procedure, 1 million people would not be getting it. He knows this. I don't know why he's lying.
Let me be
Yes,
honest.
there
Really?
is.
You
But
just
it's
said that there
safer
were
when it's
there were
legal.
millions of women that got an abortion, but you're going to say that none of them were
And
all of them died after?
All the babies did.
All the babies did. These people, you know what? Anyways, man, let me guys know what you guys think in the comment down below. I'm not even trying to take a side on this issue. I'm just trying to outline the flaws in argumentation methods that he deploys. He's just being very disrespectful, disingenuous, and just honestly, like, this is not how you talk to people about a moral issue that you have a qualms with. You know, like, it's just... Anyways, man, let me know what you guys think.